Hello and good evening and welcome to The Last Tackle. It's 25 years since the iconic wide to west moment, and it's just happened again.
27 rounds going high, and here in the playoffs, and it comes down to this last play as to which team goes on from here. Sailor. This now is Wellesby. Lomax is involved. Lomax out wide. Leeds desperate to put hands on bodies to stop things from happening. Whitley, Sailor. It's with Robertson. Cuts back on the inside. So many bodies ahead of him. Roberts for the outside. Dumps underneath tackles. Robertson plays it back. A flick back to the middle. Whitley now. Lomax. Oh, they're going to score. They're going to score. It's going to be a dive for the line for Shane Wright. Have you ever seen anything like that? That is utterly extraordinary.
Wow, that happened on Saturday night, and he was booked before Saturday. We've got the man from the famous wide to west commentary, of course, Eddie Hemmings and Kev Brown. That was 8 players, 16 passes on Saturday night, but more importantly, that keeps St Helens alive, and they go to Hull KR on Saturday night.
Absolutely, and how ironic that after the 25th anniversary that week of the wide to west try, we got the wide to right try. Should be the left to right try, but it was the wide to right try. Fantastic moment for St Helens. Another fantastic moment for St Helens. They've had the Jack Wellesby second try in the COVID final. They've had that, they've had wide to west, and even when Luke Gale dropped the goal for Castleford to take them to Old Trafford, St Helens were involved. What is it about St Helens that means that they come up with last-minute drama? But it's a moment in time, it's a moment in history, it's a moment that, frankly, my wide to west night, I will never, ever forget as long as I live. I'm sure Dave Woods, who called that one, will feel exactly the same. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. It should have been front page news, never mind back page news. We're shouting it from the rooftops. This is a fantastic sport. It produces moments like that. And as long as it does, there are 3 people in this studio who will have a smile on their face. Absolutely fantastic. And never write off the Saints for Hull Kingston Rovers at the weekend.
I was watching Saturday night, I was watching the Ryder Cup, and I watched Leeds versus Saints, and that was just an unbelievable finish. And parts of it, what Sailor did and stuff like that, are just incredible.
Yeah, and I've got a young son who wasn't around when the wide to west moment, so a lot of us were lucky enough to see them both.
I was watching with my son, and he obviously wasn't around.
It is the first time they've seen anything like that. So I thought Saints were quite poor with the ball, but the reason that Saints are always, they give themselves a chance, they've got so much resilience and character. They're not beaten until that final whistle, are they? And I think even with 4 or 5 minutes to go, they needed 2 tries, let's not forget. So they got the one with John Bedison, which we'll touch in a minute, but the last try was as good as you'll ever see. And I love the fact that the police were called out to one Saints fan for making that much noise, shouting and screaming that only Saints fans know.
That. Brilliant.
So, no, brilliant. I just thought it's everything about rugby league. It's everything about why we love Super League and the climax to the end of the season. It's exactly what we want from playoff games. I know Leeds Rhinos, I'll feel really hard done to.
Look, the RFL have apologised.
Yeah,
Why apologise?
I think
Why
it's good.
apologise?
I think it's good that they've
happen.
apologised. I think it's really good that they've said.
Well, it's honesty, Kev.
Yeah.
That's all you can say. But these things happen in sport. You know, you can go back years and years and years.
And I don't think it was a clear-cut clanger. I don't think it was an absolute dead set, no try. I think the fact that the referee's gone up as a no try and it's been overturned is the reason that they've come out and said, no, if we'd have seen this angle, we can't get conclusive evidence to overturn, so we've made the wrong decision.
But why didn't they get that angle? That's the question that should be asked.
That's the one that should be asked.
That's the question being asked. Why were you not given that angle to make that decision? You weren't given it. You went on what you saw. Okay, it's turned out to be a genuine mistake. There has been an apology, but I don't see why the governing body should apologise for something like that, because it's chip paper now, isn't it? You know, well, it's in the papers. Hard luck. I know Leeds will feel aggrieved. I'm sure they will feel aggrieved. Brad Arthur apparently in tears afterwards. You know, broke down.
Well, they were so much better. They'd done everything. I actually, when I watched back the last set when they had with the ball, they put the ball exactly where they needed to put the ball, right in the corner, the farthest place possible for Saints to go and score. They probably missed 20 tackles in that last minute. So even though, you know, you can point your finger at the referees and other decisions, they'll look back at that last minute and think they probably tried too hard. You know, they were scrambling round. Harry Robertson, I think he had 7 tackle busts in that one carry. It was just so chaotic. But me as a fan just sat there watching it. It was one of the best
jaw-dropping moment.
We'll talk about St Helens a lot more in the show. Right, from Leeds' point of view, okay, more consistent. Right, they're gutted right now because of that try, but a lot better Leeds this season.
Much better, I think.
A bit of consistency.
Consistency next year as well. Brad staying. They just feel really disappointed because I think they were genuine chance of winning the competition, wasn't there? The way they've been the back end of the season, the way they've got the defence right, but the way they've got players like Jake Connor and his teammates.
He's been fantastic, Jake Connor.
He's been, every time I've watched him, he's been the best player on the field.
Inconsistent, though, they say. I mean, that's what Sean Wayne will tell you about him, that he's too inconsistent, but he's a maverick player, isn't he? He makes things happen, you know. They will be heartbroken because they were never behind in the match, were they? Only until the final siren was sounding in the background and all of a sudden they lost it by 2 points. They will be absolutely heartbroken and gutted, but what happens like that makes you stronger, so look out for them maybe next year. Definitely. And, you know, St Helens, didn't they finish 5th in the table? Leeds won it from 5th on a few occasions.
It's a free swipe now as well, isn't it? No one expected this.
So that was wide to right. You did wide to west. 25 years, nearly to the day, 25 years on.
Nothing else has happened.
But it's why we love sport and why we love rugby league, isn't it?
Absolutely. As I said before, it was an iconic moment personally. It was an iconic moment for the game. People say it's a legacy that I have left and it will be my legacy, like the Kenneth Wolstenholme moment in the '66 World Cup final. If that's the case, how proud am I, that they think it's all over, it is now, is compared to wide to west.
And it's similar circumstances.
Very similar.
Late on, St Helens get through.
Very similar. And they must be feeling on fire. They were out. 79 minutes, 30 seconds, they're out of the competition. They're having their party on Monday. All of a sudden, they're now training for a knockout semi-final in a place at Old Trafford again. Wow. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
They won the grand final in 2000 as well, beating Wigan.
There you go. There's another coincidence.
Well, there's a lot of them in that team and that squad, that, including the coach, who know what it takes, don't they? So to get this deep into the competition, I think they're a real danger to everyone now. I
believe that the chairman's son, when he was a young lad and wide to west, broke down in tears with the emotion of the wide to west. And I'm told from a very good source that he did exactly the same, a lot older, but I think he, like everyone, had given it away, and it happened to him again after the wide to right on the weekend. Again, the emotion of it just simply got to him, And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Isn't sport
fantastic? No, isn't sport fabulous?
Look, what do you do if you don't like sport? I say that quite often on Betfred TV. What do you do if you don't like sport? Saturday night was Ryder Cup, and then I watched that. And then back to the Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup takes second place after that, Mark. Come on.
Yeah. But no, it was an amazing. So well done to St Helens. I know there's extra fallout from the game now, but well done to St Helens.
Yeah, I just hope they all stayed in and didn't get on that M62 before they saw it, and it'd be one of the biggest things they'll ever miss. But no, it was just, we're in the entertainment industry. My jaw was on the floor when I was watching it, and after the Tristan Saylor pass, you sort of gone, hang on a minute, it's happening again. Oh my God. And it happened.
Right, you said we're both in the entertainment industry. We were both there on Friday night for that Leigh Wakefield game. That build-up to the game, the fireworks, the videos, the music, and Elvis as well, it was outstanding build-up to the game, I thought.
It was unbelievable, Matt. And at one point, my watch actually said, it's too loud. the noise is too loud.
What kind of watch have you got?
Yeah, I'm going to say, wouldn't you?
That's a bit... the fireworks, the bubbles, the smoke.
And look, we know Derek Bowman.
Elvis.
We know Derek Bowman, the owner, is driving this.
It's all
and
Derek
it was outstanding.
Bowman. But the fans are all over it now, and what they've got to match the pre-match. There's no good just having the pre-match if the on-field doesn't match. They have got superstars and fireworks going off on the field as well.
Yeah.
Lachlan Lamb, Offa and Gowett, so many good players to look at and so much to be optimistic about for them Leigh fans travelling over in, I don't know how many numbers there are, going over to Wigan hopefully on Friday.
5,400, the North Stand sold out. Let's deal with the issue that obviously everyone's talking about this morning. It's 2:30 on Wednesday afternoon when we record this. Wigan issued a statement this morning at 10:37 p.m. on Tuesday the 30th of September. Our club was informed in writing by Derek Bowman of Leigh Leopards that they do not intend to fulfil this Friday's scheduled semi-final fixture. We can confirm that Leigh Leopards were offered a choice of 4,600 unreserved seats or 5,400 reserved seats in the North Stand. And we're going to talk about the Independent Safety Advisory Group and the Ground Safety Officer. It's well above the 10% minimum that they're supposed to offer to away supporters. Right. As we record this, both squads have been submitted. So Leigh have submitted their squad. I know the RFL are in discussions with both clubs. I can only think, and I don't know what has gone on other than that Wigan statement, and Leigh have not made a statement on this. I can only hope this all turns into just noise about tickets, and at some point, maybe even when this is out on YouTube and people are watching it, it is confirmed that the game is on Friday night, because I fully expect this semi-final to be played, and if it's not, it's a shame for all of us.
It's going to be played. There's no rules have been brought. Let's remember that.
Clearly, Derek is upset about something, which we'll
Derek wants more tickets, and he's built a fan base that he could allocate, I'm sure, double, even triple that. But what Wigan have done is within the rules. Wigan have earned the right to play at home. So, in my opinion, if no rules have been broken, Leigh would be crazy to give the game up when they've worked so hard. Adrian Lamb's got his team so well placed. Not only going there competing, but actually challenging Wigan. We've already seen it this year.
Well, they've released a squad, so all I can think is that Adrian Lamb is preparing for a game on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen it in the past, maybe not from owners, but from coaches. I was around a coach, Wayne Bennett, who used to use the media to take attention off his players. I remember when Sam Burgess got injured, he did something and everyone was talking about Wayne.
What, from Sir Alex Ferguson textbook?
Absolutely,
take
the pressure off your players. No one's talking about Leigh at the moment. They're actually talking about the tickets situation. Are they going to be there? I'm sure Adrian Lamb is just going, lads, don't you worry about what's going on. We're going that way. We're going over to Wigan on Friday with a job to do, and let's have it right, Matty Peet.
Because the Leigh fans have sold out their allocation. So,
well, isn't that fantastic? That's the headline news for me. Leigh, they've sold more than they've sold all they can. They want more. That's a great line. Derek is absolutely wonderful for this sport, in my opinion. He's a Marmite character. I understand that. You either love him, certainly if you're a Leigh fan, you love him, or you hate him. Now, he has decided, for whatever reason I can't understand, that he is threatening to pull the pin on a semi-final with Old Trafford and the grand final at stake. I don't believe it for a moment. I hope, like you, it's a wonderful publicity stunt that, we're not coming because you've not given us enough tickets. For goodness sake, somebody said outside before, is it 10% of the Leigh population they've been given? 5,400, there's 54,000 who live in Leigh. I mean, that's a tremendous achievement. He's got this club on the rise.
Yeah.
They've won the cup. They've made it, a couple of years ago. They've made it to, now within 80 minutes of a grand final. They were in the playoffs last year. He's defying the critics. They're going to show up. There's no way in the world. If they don't show up, Mark, they should be kicked out of the competition.
And this is this is the third year of being back in the Super League after being in the Championship.
Yes.
We won the Challenge Cup in the playoffs last year. This year finished third, so the first time they've had a home playoff. And look, I was lucky enough to be a guest of Leigh on Friday night, and what Derek put on, that show, was fantastic. you know, if I had my little lad with me, or my daughter, they'd have loved Friday night. And that's what it should be all about, isn't it?
It is, but what is more important than that, and he does all the pre-match. Remember Bradford did this, didn't he, when they first came into... So they were the forerunners. The ball came in, there was everything, the whole, the face painting, the fun of the fair, and then all of a sudden this match kicked off, which was electric. That's where it matters to me, on the field.
No, I completely agree.
But Derek has built and built and built over the past 3 years. What he has done is remarkable. Remember where they were. Remember where Leigh were. They changed the name to Leopards. They all laughed at him. Now everyone in Leigh's wearing leopard suits.
It's best marketing in rugby league.
It's fantastic what he has done. And he's not going to pull the pin on this match. There is no way in the world that Leigh will not turn up at the weekend.
Well, let's just put that to bed and let's do a match preview very quickly, because heads up, for Sky's sake and everyone's sake and the supporters' sake, the game is on Friday night, and it just ends up being noise. I know the RFL are working with both clubs to get the game on. Right, that performance, Wakefield hardly got into Leigh's half on Friday night. That was a solid performance from Leigh. And it has saved some gas as well on Friday night, definitely.
Built on a defensive mindset, which I didn't think Leigh had up until probably 6 weeks ago. So we all expected Wakefield to move the ball, and they did try and do that, but we say it was unforced errors. I'd say it were forced errors by the aggression and the intent by Leigh's defence, but I thought Wakefield were probably a step off where they expected to be, but I did think Leigh pushed on a couple of gears as well and just blew a very good Wakefield set. We saw what they did to OKR a couple of weeks ago. They were a side that had big expectations going into these playoffs and were blown away. The game was pretty much over at half time. Like you say, they could cool down and rest a little bit going into this next week. I think they're well placed. The confidence that they've already been over to Wigan. They're coming up against a very, very hot Wigan side as well. I think two teams very close to each other in great form is what everyone wants going into this stage of the season.
The fourth Battle of the Borough. Has there ever been a bigger match for Leigh than this one? You know, and Wigan have had the week off. Leigh are primed and ready.
I was
Look
there,
what
the
they
1-0
did.
game, that was amazing.
The 1-0 on the first night of the season was just unbelievable. And they are primed and ready to go on this now, Leigh. They really are. Two fantastic semi-finals. Two fabulous semi-finals.
Right, let's talk about those semi-finals in detail. First of all, well done to the Halifax Panthers on Sunday night. They won the Betfred wheelchair grand final, beating the London Roosters. I was there. It was brilliant entertainment. Halifax Panthers completely deserved it as well. They were excellent, but it was a brilliant game to watch, and the Roosters never ever gave up. So well done to the Halifax Panthers. Right, two more grand finals this weekend that I want to talk about. First of all, on Sunday afternoon, live and exclusive on the Sportsman, we have the Championship Grand Final. It's York, who have been superb of late, versus Toulouse, live on the Sportsman. York versus Toulouse. Now, there's no automatic spot in the Super League now, but the winners definitely get in the conversation when the committee meet to discuss who's going to make up the 14, definitely. And I believe there's 0.25 IMG points up for grabs, whatever that means.
Yeah, I'm sure both these sides are in the conversation already, but it definitely strengthens the argument if you know, when either side wins the comp. I think what York have done, you know, they've already been league leaders, they've won the domestic trophy as well. I'd say they're favourites going in. They were pretty good against Halifax at the weekend, but Toulouse
not lost since April.
Yeah, and Toulouse...
Halifax probably had about a 15-minute spell and we're looking at going to get back into it.
I thought they were very good, and they tested York, and obviously the intercept try changed the game a little bit, but York found a way, like they have done. They seem like they've got that belief where even if it goes to 70, 80 minutes, they'll get the job done. That's what they did. Toulouse will go there. They're a little bit of an unknown because we don't see them as much over in the UK, but they came up with some comeback against Bradford, down at, I think it was 16-0 at half time. To win the game by a couple of points was sensational. So it's going to be a great game. I think York win this one. I think Clint, you know, will get his team, and Mark Applegarth will get his squad going, and they'll win this game.
There was a phrase you used then in the build-up to what you've talked with Kevin about, when the committee meet to decide who plays in Super League next year.
I know what you're going to say. I think both me and you are a bit old school, Eddie.
Well, maybe I am.
No, I think both me and you are old school.
Well,
they should be playing for a place in the Super League, shouldn't they?
The winners of this match at the weekend should be automatically in Super League next year, whether it's York or Toulouse.
Like
doesn't
Wakefield
matter.
did last year.
Well, exactly. Go back to the good old days when we had the £1 million match. Remember? That was to stay in, never mind anything else. We've gone away from promotion and relegation. It's the lifeblood of British sport, promotion and relegation. OK, you win a £1 million match and you're celebrating mediocrity. You've had a shocking season, but you're still there next year. You'd then disappear if you've lost that. These two sides have battled their way through a season. They're top and second in the table. They're playing in the grand final to win the championship. The reward is 1/4 point from IMG. Are you having a laugh? The reward should be straight in to the Super League next year. That's my opinion.
And I think plenty of people will agree with you, Eddie. Right, Sunday, Wigan versus St Helens in the Betfred Women's Grand Final. Dennis Betts has done an unbelievable job.
He has, and I remember when Dennis took the job over and he said how excited he was to nurture a young group of girls coming through.
Because the Wigan Warriors women had won nothing.
No, they'd won nothing, and Saints were the team, weren't they? Saints, Leeds, York, they were miles in front. And Dennis has not only shut the gap, but he's probably earned the right to call himself the favourites at the weekend. I think Saints will have overanswered, and Craig will come there with his team very confident because they've got the experience. But I watched them, last week against Leeds, and they were faultless. I thought Eva Hunter especially is someone that reminds me so much of Dennis Betts, the ball-carrying, barnstorming back rower for Wigan.
Well, Wigan
won the Challenge Cup, they won the regular season.
That's what I say.
Dennis Betts can do a hat-trick now.
Yeah, and well done to Dennis. Hats off to him for what he's achieved with the women there this year. But, Wigan Saints, doesn't matter who's playing, does it? Yeah. It's a special occasion, and who knows, it could be the forerunner for Old Trafford in the following weekend. Wigan Saints could be Wigan Saints one week, Wigan Saints the next. Who knows? And isn't that fantastic? We can't. You turn up these days to these top matches and you don't know who's going to win. You've not got an idea who's going to win. I think Wigan are, in the women's game have got a lot of momentum going for them right now, and they will never write off the Saints.
No, exactly right. Well done to the Halifax Panthers, like I said. So the Championship playoff is Sunday afternoon live here on the Sportsman. York versus Toulouse. Then we've got the women live on Sky at 5:30. Wigan versus St Helens. Then live on Sky in 10 days' time. It's a Betfred Grand Final.
It right at the end. That is an enormous play. The time is here to decide who will be crowned champions. It's grand final time.
Yeah, Rugby League's big night at Old Trafford in early October. Is that the night? I mean, you're going to come as our guest, Eddie, which looking forward to seeing you on the day. But is that the night when you always think that, I wish I was still commentating?
I did once, the very first one after I'd hung the microphone up. We're driving down the motorway about 4:30 and thinking, I should be there now. I should be getting really built up for this now, because it is the biggest night of the year. It really is. And I don't miss it. I sit and watch Kevin and all the rest of the boys, and I shout and scream at the telly like people used to do with me and Steve-O, year on year, week on week. But I don't miss it, but I'm so sorry I wasn't there for the wide to right moment. Sorry that I'm not going to be there in the commentary box for the grand final, because it is a special night. It's the one you build up to all year, and this is the moment. You've got to play your optimum.
We've been talking about the issues Rugby League have got. That's the one night when Rugby League get it spot on.
Absolutely they do. And the pre-match entertainment, which has gone on for years, and the games themselves. I mean, so many fantastic moments in the grand final. Rob Burrows' fantastic try, Sean Long's drop goal, Chris Joint's voluntary tackle. Did Michael Withers knock it on? You know, and my memory's fading, by the way, but you know, they are moments I will never ever forget. A hat trick for Michael Withers as well, same fella. You know, brilliant night, Old Trafford, the night of the year, wonderful. Right,
let's finish. We're not going to talk about tickets either, or allocations, all right. Let's finish on 2 cracking semi-finals. So, Friday night, Wigan Warriors versus the Leigh Leopards. Put it into words.
Wigan Warriors should, Leigh Leopards might. I think after last weekend they're on a bit of a roll. The distraction has come from Derek to take all the spotlight away from his team. Adrian Lamb, possible coach of the year. He's got his son playing. There's a bit of a distraction there as well about what was or wasn't said to Mason Lino in the semi-final. That will be decided next week. If Leigh get through, I hope Lachlan Lan is allowed to play in the grand final. I think it could go either way, this, I really do. Last year, I think Leigh got to this stage and lost 38-0.
They ran out of gas.
Ran out completely. Completely ran out of gas. Wigan have been sat there watching all this drama unfold over the past fortnight. I said, well, get on with it. Matty Peet will just say, right, here we go. You know, it's ours to win. I think Wigan will, genuinely, but I hope Leigh do, because there's a chance then of a new name on the grand final trophy.
Right then, Friday night, Wigan versus Leigh. Sell it to me.
Well, first of all, I can't wait to see the head-to-head with Lockie Lamb and Bevan French. I think 2 of the best players in the world of rugby league going head-to-head, and both of them in great form as well. And I honestly think out of them 2 players, whoever stands up and has the biggest game on the night, look, you probably, if it was a bet, you'd probably go on Bevan French because he's a safe bet. Every big game I've seen him in, he produces. But what I've seen is a maturity from Lachlan Lamb, where he not only plays well for himself, he brings his team in. I saw that last week, saw that the week before. I cannot wait for that battle. Everyone else, for me, it backs them up. And whoever out of them 2 players come out of the head-to-head with the points win that game.
Intriguing that those 2 are not even mentioned in the Man of Steel voting, which will be decided next week. They're not there. Bevan French.
Which probably shows you how many superstars we've got in our game.
So.
Mikey Lewis, Jake Connor, there's so many good players.
Don't forget Jay Field, he's in it as well.
Jay Field, yeah.
There's a chance of a storm, isn't there, on Friday night? Storm Amy. It's going to be the first one of the Mets year. So Storm Amy could be very, very stormy at Wigan Stadium on Friday night. It could be an absolute cracker. So you're going Wigan, but you hope Leigh.
Yes.
And you're going Wigan.
I'm going Wigan. I think Bevan French.
Who's been great since he's come back from
He's
injury.
been great, and Wigan just know. They just know what it feels like, what it smells like, how to do it.
So that's Friday night. The calm after the storm will be 5:30 on Saturday night. Hull KR, league leaders, versus Saints.
Hull KR have been consistent all year. They've had a little wobble late on in the season. 1 or 2, like the Wakefield result you mentioned before, 1 or 2 results you never saw coming. They were fortunate, I think, to win at Wembley this year against Warrington. They were not fortunate to lift the League Leaders Shield, because that shows just how consistent they have been. But they have the Saints turning up on the back of the wide to Wright try. I just hope that match for St Helens hasn't taken all the gas out of them. Kevin, you will know better than me, when you come into a match after a match like that, is it, look, we're on a roll here, we can't lose this, or is it, we've got to go again?
I think the first, I think it's a free hit now for me. I think Saints go there. Emotionally, they put so much into that Leeds game, and it was almost season over. All the hard work they've done came down to one player. The fact that they've got themselves on the bus, they're going over to East Yorkshire and they're going to play against Hull KR. I think it's the worst possible opponent for Hull KR. I think they've played them a couple of times away already. They know what it feels like. They've nothing to lose. Everyone's going to write them off. Hull KR are not a patch on where they was 6 to 8 weeks ago. I think they've hit the brakes. I think they're running out of a bit of steam. We've seen it historically over time that the teams who win the grand final win the Challenge Cup final often struggle to back that up. I think they have struggled and they've shown the class by limping over the finish line in the league. I thought they were very underwhelming against Warrington's reserve grade, let's put it right. And Willie Peters, I'm sure, will be looking for form like he had previously the last 6 weeks, but it's so difficult to turn on. I think the pressure at home, I think everything's there for a big upset.
We talk about the crowd at Wigan and the proportion of supporters for Leigh. There's going to be, about 10,000 Hull Kingston Rovers fans there. How many are going from St Helens? I bet there's no...
I bet they sell their allocation, but I bet it's not 5,400.
No, I'm sure it won't be. You know, I don't know exactly how many it is, but they will...
Saints won't be calling the game off.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right then, look, I've really enjoyed it. Good to see you both. Right, let's finish with one simple question. Next week, who are we building up to?
I'd love to say Leigh and Hull KR for this. Get this monkey off our back. There's only 4 clubs have ever won the grand final. I'd love to see. I've got a sneaking feeling we might be saying we're going to have a repeat of the women's grand final this weekend. I think it might be Wigan Saints, you know. I really do.
I've got to agree. I think Wigan Hull KR is the safe bet for me. Wigan and Saints. It's going to be a derby in the final.
Right, good luck to all 4 teams in the semis, good luck to York to lose, and good luck to Wigan Warriors versus St Helens Women in the Betfred Women's Grand Final. Thanks for coming in, fellas, and enjoy your rugby league.
This is my time.